might find it surprising.
It's funny because this kind of move, I brand it anti-youngster prep.
Anti-youngster prep.
You basically want to avoid the main lines, and he's trying to steer the game into lines that are non-committal. And I find this with the youngsters especially, that they like direct action. So this is actually something that Gukesh is playing against his style, because he's a player who loves to push, loves these concrete variations. And here he's like, okay, it's maybe the bishop is going to come out to f4, maybe there's going to be some e4 ideas. Let's wait and see how the game develops. And now Erdogmus has a choice. You know, what is he going to do? Is he going to do same in kind? Is he going to get the bishop out to f5? The knight coming out to f6?
That's like there's a lot of questions here. So I'm not sure if this opening line has a name, but if it if it would have a name, I'd name it Geary variation. What's good? Accelerate. So bishop c. Wait a second. So queen c2, knight e4. Here. I don't like what Gukesh is doing, to be honest, because the whole line is intended to get the usual position tempo up. So you're playing kind of the Slav defense positions, but because you're starting with white, right, so you get color reversed, tempo up. But then you lose one tempo by going bishop g5 to f4, and you lose the other one going queen c2, queen b3. So not only you're playing with black, but possibly you play some known position with black being tempo down.
Yeah.
I do not know. From what I see, black can play, and that's like, it's not me being smart, it's computer suggesting moves. Black can play knight to d7, and you are not supposed to take this pawn, because guess what? e5, and this runs into bishop c5, dark this, e3, rook b8, and apparently some devastating attack. Rook b2, f2 hanging. Black just like has overwhelming lead in development, right? So queen b7, e5, I was thinking like if bishop takes, it's not very much different. You take, you even have the luxury to defend the pawn first. You'll develop the bishop, you'll castle. So when your only developed piece is the queen on b7, guess what? Like nothing good's gonna happen.
Yeah. Okay. Well, some interesting dancing going on with the queen from Gukesh, but queen to b6, very normal.
Queen to b6, but it's like kind of giving world champion a lot of respect, obviously.
Yeah.
But then computer switches to once again back to liking white's position.
But okay, it's a game of small margins, and we're yet to see how Gukesh is actually. Yeah, I was thinking this. I was going to suggest it, but I was
one of the moves.
It is certainly a.
escaping against Gukesh. Erdogmus Gukesh. I think Gukesh lost, I'm looking at the computer. Remember Rook G8 over here? Move 33. And full disclosure, over here computer thinks white's completely winning. So king to c2, which wasn't the greatest, I believe. Bishop e7, sacrificing the e6 pawn, and then g6, g5, king to d7, knight f4, rook f8, rook g1, bishop g5, knight d5, king c6, and knight f6 was a winning move for Gukesh on move 40, and he couldn't find it.
Well, it's not a very natural move.
It's not a very natural move. So basically it was like knight to f6, you take on f6, and then white captures h6. And if rook h8, white has rook g6 and so on. So what happens now? White captures g5, king d5. Now the bishop is hanging, plus there is a threat of rook f2. So if bishop h6, rook f2, I don't know what happens to my mouse, Mickey Mouse. Rook f2, and you have to go to b1, and then it's rook b8, or where do we go? Yeah, I guess it's rook b8, king a1, say we take, white takes, and g takes h5. The power of blockade. White has 3 connected passed pawns which are not going anywhere.
They can't easily be advanced, but I also want to point out that the white king isn't particularly...
I say I go rook h1. I was thinking, is this... Does this line work? No, I'm blundering something. I thought you take as a check. But there's king b1, right? Yeah. So basically what I was going with it is that king b3, I have this a4 thing, which I thought was clever, but not with the f pawn running, right? So basically my trick was this, yeah? My trick was this. My trick was this, that I'm distracting the king and so on, but I lose in any other line, literally. So you take, and then there is like rook h5, king c4, so that's just like made up little trick which doesn't work. But yeah, such a turnaround.
Right. But the key for Erdogmus is simply after bishop to f6, okay, you can take on h5.
And then go to the open file.
And then go to the open file. And also, you do have possibilities. So, for instance, if white tries to be... Yeah, you just have to get a rook to the open file.